And we welcome you back to Newsmax Now. You may have heard about a brouhaha taking place down in the Sunshine State. Governor Rick Scott is suing President Obama about the future of the Medicaid expansion in that state. Earlier here on Newsmax TV, our own J.D. Hayworth got the chance to talk to Florida Governor Rick Scott about Obamacare in the state of Florida. Let's take a listen.
We all know that Obamacare has not worked. Costs have gone up. It's not good for our taxpayers. It's not good for our companies. It's not good for jobs. So I'm going to stand up against the federal government for the citizens, the 20 million people that I represent in the great state of Florida.
Mindful of that fact, Governor, do you believe President Obama personally is interested more in power than in people?
If you look at what he's doing here, it sure looks like he's going to use all of his bullying tactics. I said yesterday, this is like The Sopranos. It's not. We don't have a choice. Our state has the right to make our own decisions. Our taxpayers have the right to make our own decisions. Also, let's remember this: he's walking away from a program for the poor. Right? That would not. These are not the individuals that would be covered by an expansion of Obamacare. Number two, they have not cut our federal taxes. Have you seen your taxes go down, JD? They haven't. So we're paying these federal taxes, and then they're cutting back on programs that have helped our poor income families. And then I cannot imagine how they think they can bully states like what they're trying to do to Florida to force a bad bill, Obamacare, on our population.
Well, there you have it. In the White House's line, and they're saying, look, there's billions of dollars at stake here that would be available to hospitals in the state of Florida. And if you turn this money down, they're not going to have that money. Some would say scare tactics by the White House, as Governor Rick Scott would be, but it's an interesting case to see.
Yeah,
Governor
every
Scott,
state's after Obama right now. If it's not Medicaid, it's immigration.
That's right. Well, he's doing a lot of things that's causing a lot of pain for these state legislators, including the CEOs of the state, like Rick Scott, because they're the one, it's their budget on the line. And unlike the federal government, in many states, including Florida, they have to pass a balanced budget. In Washington, not necessarily the case. Anyway, we move on. We'll keep watching that story as well. And this week, of course, we talked about this earlier.
Right.
You knew this was going to be on the late night shows.
Of course.
Marco Rubio was asked about gay marriage and his religious beliefs. His comments landed him on the front pages of newspapers everywhere. And we'll start with the Washington Post, which gives us a primer on the Florida senator's beliefs. Marco Rubio often talks about faith and went into depth about his religious convictions earlier this week. Here's Conan O'Brien's take.
In his lifetime, Marco Rubio has identified himself as a Mormon, a Catholic, and a Baptist. Yeah. Rubio plans to address questions about exactly what his religious beliefs are this Saturday at his bar mitzvah. So,
I'd forgotten about that. Rubio, his family, they moved to Nevada, I think, when he was a child, and there was some affiliation with the Mormon church there. But
interesting.
He can appeal to a lot of folks on that front.
Yes, he can. Now let's take you to Newsmax.com. I think we had it up just a second ago. Ex-NFL player Aaron Hernandez, convicted of first-degree murder. A Massachusetts jury on Wednesday, as you may have heard, found Hernandez guilty of killing Odin Lloyd back in 2013. Here's Comedy Central's Larry Wilmore on the verdict.
Now, the news of a guilty verdict came as somewhat of a shock, saying as usually there are no consequences when a patriot breaks the rules. Right? Hey, don't hate the messenger. As for punishment, he got a life sentence. And if you think that's harsh, if you add on the likely 2-game NFL suspension, whoo! Suffer! Suffer! Right.
No, I mean, Larry Wilmore actually, as you know, these comics tend to do, makes a good point there with some of the ridiculous suspensions we've seen from the NFL. And this week you had the Aaron Hernandez verdict. You also had Lawrence Phillips, a former NFL player who's already in prison, accused of killing his cellmate. It
just gets more and more and more bizarre. And what's so strange about the whole thing is you have all the success right in front of you. Why would you throw it away? You're making millions of dollars playing a sport that you love. I don't get it.
Well, there has also been some discussion about what the repeated traumatic brain injuries can do to these NFL players, perhaps making them more violent, something that probably warrants more discussion. And we'll probably try to bring Nick Tate on to talk about that as we look ahead. But coming up, we're going to try to discern between which news headlines are real and which ones are fake. It's not exactly as easy as you might believe.
It can be a little tricky. We'll let you decide. We'll put your news knowledge to the test. It's all coming up right here on Newsmax Now.